Hello everybody, welcome to the Rabid Beagle Garage. So the problem that we're having with these Highlanders and probably other cars and Toyotas and other manufacturers is with these sunroofs not draining properly. These particular models have a filter in the fender that clog up and make the sunroof drain onto your feet, which is unpleasant. But there's a pretty simple solution to it. And I'm going to show you that right now. And it's very easy. It takes you about an hour, hour and a half. So wait for a day that your wife goes off to work and tell her you're going to fix the car. And, you can spend the rest of the day goofing off. So what are you going to need for this? You're going to need to get yourself a piece of wire or a coat hanger. That one's about 3 feet. You need some tape. I used electrical tape. Worked perfect. You're going to need a razor blade or a utility knife with a sharp blade in it. It's going to need to be sharp. And a pair of needle nose with a long nose. If you got one with a bend in it, that might work a little bit better. But, don't use short ones. You're going to need long ones. And then the only thing you need to buy is some hose. Go to Home Depot or Lowe's and get yourself some of this hose here. 10 feet is all you'll need. Costs about $5, maybe $6, and that's all you'll need. Let's get to it. First thing you have to do is remove this piece of trim. This is the worst part of this entire thing. Behind this piece of trim, right about here, is a piece of plastic that's locking it in, and it's very awkward to get to, and it's unpleasant, and you will probably learn a few curse words in the process. And unfortunately, since I'm recording this on my phone by myself, I can't even show you how to do it. But let me get this apart and I'll show you how it goes together, and you'll understand perhaps what you have to do. All right, I'll be back. All right, there you have it. Off it comes. Just kind of pulls up out from the dash up here. This is your little enemy right here, this little guy. That little piece of plastic is the hardest thing to get to. This here is your side curtain airbags. You want to be very careful working around this. I don't think you have to worry about it deploying, but you don't want to cut it either. Now, the way I got to this is I went up behind here with my needle nose and twisted that the 90 degrees that it has to go. That fits into this little notch here. And you can try to get it from the top, but your best bet, I think, is going through the side. However you get it off, please don't damage it, because I wouldn't want to see something happen to anybody. If this deploys, this piece of trim will become a projectile, and we don't want to hurt anybody. We just want to have dry floors, right? So the next thing to do is you're going to take out these 2 pieces of trim down at the bottom. You got this piece here and this piece here. All right, they just pull out. So let me get these out of here, and we'll move on to the next thing. See, so this piece, you just reach back here, you just pull it straight to you, and it's being held in place with this clip right here in this hole. So you just pull it out directly to you, and out it comes. And this little guy is attached to the trim here, to the rubber, and you could probably pull it off, but you don't really need to. You just have to get under it, because you need to get under the carpet, which you're going to want to do anyway, because it's going to be full of water, and hopefully just water, no mold, and God knows what else is going to be under there. Get yourself some towels before you lock this up and dry this out, because your car's can get moldy and musty. It's going to be musty anyway. I probably did this back in August, and it's May, and it's not musty anymore, but it was musty for a few months. Now it's kind of getting back to normal. But you can see this is nice and dry. How many problems anymore? All right, so let's get on with the repair. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to take your wire. You have to determine where you want this hose to go, because we're going to reroute it out the floor. So you take your wire, and you run it down into this corner, and it'll come out down under the dash panel by the floor. So I don't know if you can see that, but here it is. It comes down under the panel. Get your head under there, And make sure you're happy with how that's routed, because there's some wires and stuff up there, and you just don't want to create a problem while you're trying to fix something. So you take your hose, you're gonna put the wire. I put the wire in the hose, and then I use the electrical tape and I taped it up. Then you're gonna, as you pull the wire out up this way, you're gonna feed your hose up to yourself. So once you got your hose up here, I didn't run it through because I already got mine. You can see my hose here, my original hose. This is the line, the original one that Toyota installed. And this is the one I cut off of it. And this is where it gets real, really. This goes down into the fender, and you gotta grab a hold of it, and you're gonna pull it out. Once you do that, there's no going back. I don't know if it's possible to get it back in there. But you can look and see on mine how much muck there was inside it. And there's no way to clean it. It's absolutely disgusting. So you're going to pull it out of there, and you're going to find a spot along this hose. I found a spot here. And you're going to take your razor blade or your utility knife that I just dropped between the seats, and you're going to cut it right here. Right? You're going to find a nice spot. You can cut it up here if you want to. You cut it down here. But there's these clips. All right. So work with them a little bit. There's one of these little clips here. There's one up here that hold this hose. And you're just going to take your hose and you're going to stick it inside the old hose. Just like that. Now, if that worries you, I guess you could put a clamp or something on it. But it gets in there about 1 inch and it's not going anywhere. And it's clamped on with those orange clips. So it's not going anywhere, and it works. So you're gonna put it in there, and then you're gonna run your wire. You're gonna run your hose down so there's no slack in it. You're gonna make sure all this stuff is intact. You don't want any problems with these side curtain airbags. God forbid you actually need them. Hopefully you never need them, but we don't want to screw them up. The next thing you got to do is come down into the floor, and you got to find out where you want this to go. If you ever look down inside here, here's mine. There's these grommets in the floor, and I'm not really sure why they're there. There's another one up here someplace, I think. But as you can see, I ran my hose right through there. So I ran my hose down here, out of sight. You can see it there. Right, I ran it down, you tuck it behind the carpet. It goes under this piece of trim. I put a small zip tie there. That's optional. Then I ran it behind. No, I didn't run it behind. I ran it right in front of this gas tank lever and right into the hole. And it runs down. Let's see if I can get it out of there. So it's down there, 5-6 inches. It's down there pretty good. And there's underneath is just a, I don't know why they did it this way, but there's plastic under there. So instead of having metal floor, there's a plastic undercoat. I don't know why it's there. Who knows? Who knows why they would put a hose in the fender so that you can't clean it out. But I'm going to try to do this one hand and show you how deep this is. See how it goes here. I don't know how I'm going to do it. So you got about that much wire before you hit the bottom. So you just take your grommet and you're going to put a hole in it as small as possible. You're going to force your hose through. Then you're going to stick it. This is all going to be wet and nasty most likely when you're doing it, so you get to enjoy that. You're going to stick it down in the hole and you're going to seal that grommet up all the way around. And then that's it. You just got to put it back together. Now, I would recommend leaving this open for the day. Maybe setting up a fan, park it so it's in the sun. Do something so it can dry out, because it is going to stink if you don't. And, you don't want that. So once it's done, you're going to tuck your carpet in nice so your wife doesn't complain. Put all your trim back together. Put that red clip in. Don't forget that. You don't want to make that thing a projectile. And you got the whole rest of the day to yourself. Go fishing, go hunting, go drinking, do whatever you want. So there you have it, the Rabid Beagle Garage solution to Toyota's poor engineering on a drain. Do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe, and put a comment below. Let me know how it went, or if you have any suggestions that we could implement here to make this go a little smoother. Not that it's hard, but you know, if you come up with something that works a little better, let me know. Good luck.